I guess we are live now. So, hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting session of Day 2 at TestMu conference. I am Salman, Senior Product Marketing Manager at TestMu AI, and I will be your host for this session. Before we get started, just a couple of quick things. If you come across something insightful during this session, feel free to share your learnings on LinkedIn and X. You can also tag TestMu AI and use the hashtag TestMuCall. So, joining us today is Siddhant Sinha, lead member of technical staff at TestMu AI. With 6 years of experience in test automation, Siddhant brings a hands-on perspective on where AI can make testing smarter, faster, and easier to maintain. In this session, he will show how the entire QA loop in web testing works with agentic testing tools like kane-cli, and how to wire the author, evidence, assure, and maintain loop in your own testing stack. So, Siddhant, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Salman, for such a lovely introduction. And I'll be sharing my screen, then I'll get started. Let me just do it. Uh, I hope my screen is visible now. So this is today's day two for TestMu conference, and my workshop is on web automation and assurance. So before this, we had two sessions where Prince and Wally talked a lot about these loops. And today, what I'm going to discuss is closing the loop. Like, how do we close the loop completely? And like last 7 to 8 months, we have been trying this to close these completely end to end. And in this process, we came up with a tool called kane-cli, which actually helps us to actually close the loop, not just give us some sense of this that we are closing the loop, but will show you with evidence and everything how it closes the loop across the web automation and assurance part. So I'll get started now. Just let me, yeah. Okay. So from last like almost 2 years now, AI has been working like writing codes like in seconds for us, and throughout the industry, everyone is using it now. There is Claude Code, there is Codex, there is Gemini, there is Copilot, and people are using all these tools to create their own harness in writing codes, verifying it, unit test, writing it in CI. But what happens when you create a web flow altogether? There is a web application. You write a code, AI generates it in seconds, and you want to test it out. So people use different tools for it, uh, but the same agentic loop, they use that tool, and the AI which has written the code itself tries to create the test for it and tries to prove it. So there is a bit of effort where you need to verify things out manually itself, right? And those tests that are written are brittle, are slow, and are not actually proven in a real browser, right? You get a sense of a feeling where it's proven in a real browser, but uh, the agent who is writing the code itself and then trying to prove it is a sense, what I feel like is a sense of false truth, I feel, where it says that the tests are proven, everything works, but when the same thing goes to the production, it starts to break, right? And we have been feeling that we want to close this completely and just don't get the sense that we are actually testing it and pushing the code to production. So this is the one part of the problem which I discussed. There is a second part, right? So uh, in every MNC or startup, there are product managers, there are developers, there are QAs, there are estates, there are leads, all the people, right? And when uh, we talk about any feature or something that is going on, that we call it a use case, right? So every time your product manager comes up with a use case like a complete features, creates a PRD for you, and that PRD is passed on to developer, to QA, and developer writes creates the feature according to that PRD, and QA is writing test case on the same PRD, right? But what happens, there is a huge gap in between when we are using the same use case. to create the test cases or scenarios or acceptance criteria where a lot of human effort is involved, and there is not complete transparency of what is happening in between the creation of the business use case to the test case that we are actually going to test it when the feature is developed. uh, so like what actually happens is there is a drift, there are stale tests, there is a guess when you are trying to say that you have covered 70% of the total of a particular feature or something. That's completely a guess, right? So these are the two specific problems uh, that we are going to discuss and in this workshop, and we are going to tell you how we developed something that can actually close this loop out end to end. Okay, so let's move on to our next slide. So what we call is one loop, one CLI, and this is basically a complete loop that you see in this slide. That a product manager creates a context, a PRD, and he just put into one CLI, and that CLI actually designs acceptance criteria, scenarios, tests, and then once the tests are designed, the CLI itself authored that test, which is written in plain English test. There is no selectors, no XPaths, nothing to worry about, and the CLI itself handle all those things for you internally. And once the authoring is done, the same test can be replayed multiple times in your CIs. And whenever a authoring or execution has happened, evidence is something that is emitted out by CLI as a proof of what it has done or what has been achieved during that particular uh, execution or authoring of a test, right? So uh, this is basically what we call a complete loop, how it looks like, right? And this is already everything is out there for you to try it out. And in this workshop we are going to do the same. We are going to use a PRD to create the acceptance criteria scenarios test, author it, execute it, and show you the evidence how everything works end to end. Okay, before starting it, we are giving out 10,000 free credits. So in this session, if somebody wants to follow along with us and try to perform the same on their machine uh, along with this session, they are welcome to do so. And they can right now, if they don't have like credits or something, they can just go. We are giving 10,000 free credits for this month. Just scan this and we can do the setup. I'll wait for some time, like if people want to get the setup at their end, and then we can continue for here from here. And meanwhile, I'll explain you what all things are. The second command that you see, basically you can install the CLI directly via one command. Then you need to log in into onto TestMu AI, and once I'll just go one slide back. Maybe everyone who are trying to claim has scanned it. Uh, I'll just go one step back and tell you like when authoring and execution happens actually. Uh, we have a test manager, TestMu AI as a test management system where all these tests that you're authoring or executing is created. So when we will do the authoring part, you'll be able to see in test manager that the test is created, and when you do execution locally as well, we create a test run for your test cases, and everything is like audited what is happening, and the evidence is definitely a proof that is emitted locally, so you can check it locally as well. So let's wait. Let's give 2 minutes here if people are really setting it up, and then we can start the workshop for which all of you are, and we'll see some interesting stuff today. How actually kane-cli closes this loop. What people are talking about. Like I am talking about, or Wali or Prince has talked about in before sessions. Okay, let me go ahead. I'll move on to my next slide. So, what we are going to do today? is not related to agents. If we get time, then we'll go to agents and show you how this kane-cli skill that if you want to install, you can try it, you can install it right now. We have two QR codes. The first one is for GitHub, where you can see the kane-cli complete documentation, skills, and everything is there. And we have a separate talks as well on testmuai.com/talks. So if you guys want to open it up, you can do that. And I'll wait for 30 seconds and I'll move on to the new slide. So this is for agents and docs. We are not going to start with the agents one. I'll show you manually how without agents, like you don't need to use agents as well. You can directly ingest a PRD into kane-cli and how we can do all this stuff. But if we get time at the end, we'll definitely try to cover the agents part as well. And the docs is the complete documentation of what all kane-cli can do actually. So yeah, let me now move on to the next slide. Okay, so what I have done is I have created a sample GitHub repo itself, and I'll do the same on that repo. Like try to close the loop in on that particular code that we have written. Try to generate the test cases, run it, execute it, and show you the evidence. So if you want to just download the code, just scan it right now and get it set up on your machine, and we'll get started. Okay. Uh, I think we should move on to the next slide. Okay. So we have talked about five things that we have seen in the previous slide. The first one, so we'll cover all of the things one by one in this workshop session, and I'll show you a demonstration of how everything works, how you can check out, how can use everything here on the same sample that I've shown you in the last slide. If you have set up on your machine, so let us get started here. I'll just so this is context. I'll give a brief like what a context is. So we have been hearing this term for like almost 3 years now, like a context management, and there are a lot of things around it actually. So it was really interesting for us when we were solving this problem. What How do we manage such a large context, right? So if you're building a project or a feature or something, it grows over time, and there are a lot of things that would come up. A PRD comes up, a PRD will change, and how do we maintain all those things? And we came up with quite interesting solutions for it, and we have created a particular assurance harness loop itself that actually does all the things: managing the context, designing, creating your test cases, scenarios, and everything. So let us move on. I'll go to my terminal actually, and we'll start seeing the live action how everything works. So I'm in the same kane-cli workshop, that repo that everyone can download as it is a public repo. So we have everything here. I'll just start with kane-cli context, ingest, and that's it. I'll just start ingesting the PID. Meanwhile, it happens. I'll show you a small detail on the PID, how it looks. Uh, so I'll give you context what the app is about and what we are going to do. So it's basically a web application. We named it V16 food app, food ordering website actually, and it will run locally on my system on this particular URL. And in the PID, we have mentioned some use cases, what we have developed, and we have mentioned what we want and what types of tests we would want in the PRD itself. So everything, all the information is already here. What rules are applied, how order number is generated, what are network calls, and all those things, and what will happen. So I'll go to my terminal. It is so what is happening right now is I have given the PRD to the kane-cli agent, and it is extracting all the use cases for me. So first, it needs to identify use case, and then we'll go on to designing part of how each use cases is designed. So yeah, it has completed the use case extraction part, where if you see, it has created four different use cases, how my PRD mentioned, and I'll go through it one by one, and we'll try to play around with this and see what happens. So it has created four use cases. First one is place a food order for the delivery, and it has marked it as high risk, and it has created some summary of it, that enter delivery details and place the order. This will be useful when we are going to design this particular use case. And then use case 2, sign in before ordering. This is also a valid use case for me, and authentication to reach the menu, and all those things are mentioned in summary. Use case 3 is managing the cart, which is very important for a food delivery website, that every functionality and all those things, quantities, removing items, review totals, whether everything is fine or not. Then comes the fourth use case, where you browse the menu and add items to the cart. And these two are marked medium. But suppose what I want is that my use case 3 is not should not be a medium risk, right? And I want to say that I want to just move my use case 3 to high risk. So what do I do? I just go here in here and type UC3 should be high risk. Okay. So now agent has gone again to check what I'm proposing, and it will help me with what I want, and it is going to change the risk. So it has changed UC3 to high risk, as I directed. So this is the first part, where we have actually created four use cases out of this PRD, what I have just shown you guys, and I can read it and it looks fine to me right now. And so what I can do, it looks good, finish the session, and I'll just do it. So what has happened right now? It has created four use cases for me. We haven't designed any test case till now. We have just extracted out what the PRD contains, and we can like I can show you guys like how it looks. So I'll just do context list, and yeah, it shows me two headings, right? Source, which was the PRD that we had given, and it has created some details around what we have discussed above, and it has created something of its own internally. And there are four use cases that we have created right now, which is use case 4, use case 1, use case 2, and use case 3. And now it has gone, like we don't see use case 3 because we tried to change it to a high risk, and it has updated it. Okay, now there are two things here. I can do a list which shows me terminal, but I can even do view, and it opens up a separate altogether a browsing view for me, where I can just see the PRD, all the use cases that are linked here, and I'll just go back from here. And we want to start designing the use case. So let me come back here. So this is what all is context is all about, where you give the requirements and what do you want from those requirements, and we just extract out use cases for you, how a QA lead or a pro who has been working in the industry for like almost 10-15 years will do it. So in the same manner, kane-cli extracts all the use cases from you from a single PRD. Now we move on to our next part, that is designing, and this is one of the most interesting part that I want to share it with you guys. So designing is an art where you have a use case, and now you want to design not the test, but the acceptance criteria and the scenarios, and which scenario covers what acceptance criteria. And this is the most difficult part, I think, which we have done till now in kane-cli. And definitely this harness is the one that, like, that is a massive one. And I'm just going to show you how it actually works live. So I have listed all the context. There are four UCs that we have created. I'll just start designing one. So kane-cli, we have a context, sorry, design test, and I've just selected use case one to go with, place a food order for delivery, and let's see what happens. Okay, so it asks me that I haven't reviewed the use cases that were designed, right? And it wants me to approve, but I know what we have created right now. So I'll just go ahead and say yes, that I want to design it anyway. So it automatically approves it before starting the designing. And now it has started this particular flow. Meanwhile, I can show you the approve part, how you can do if you want to. So you can, if you have a context, if you have a use case that is created, you just need to do review. And once you have reviewed it, you can just do approve UC checkout like this. And it's going to approve that particular use case, that yes, you're satisfied with it and you want to go ahead. And maybe you will design it right now or later, that totally depends on you. Because like, we have extracted four use cases, but it's not possible for, like, any QA lead, PM, or anyone to design everything at a one go. So we have all these sessions and everything in place inside kane-cli itself, that manages it for you, and you can pick up wherever you have left. So let's see what it has done. Uh, it has designed some of the acceptance criteria for me, and let's see what it has done. So there are total 13 acceptance criteria that is created for me out of just one use case right now. And let's see how does everything looks right now. So checkout shows a full name field, checkout shows a delivery address, checkout shows card and a cash as a payment option. Card is the default payment method when checkout opens. Place order is not enabled when full name is empty, and all the checks regarding place order that is there. Successful checkout shows when the confirmation messages like place order is shown, and it has shown me that this order ID should be confirmed when I am placing the order. And a successful checkout shows that the total paid from the checkout on the confirmation screen. And back to menu from confirmation returns to user to main screen. So yeah, and no network calls is triggered right now because we have a static application that we are doing the testing on. So that is also in place. So kane-cli is not just doing a UI testing for you guys, but also it is looking at the network console, the dev tools, and you can do assertions, and you can do a lot of stuff around the network as well, network and console. So these 13 acceptance criteria looks good to me, and I want to continue to scenarios. So these are just what needs to be tested, and now we are going to create the scenario for this. Okay. Okay. So let's go back to the deck, and we have moved from. Okay, we are currently on this one, and I'll let you know on little details about our agent, how it does things. So when we talk about acceptance criteria, the use case has already determined the summary that I can show you to you guys how it is done before. And our agents does just like take all of these, goes back and says, hey, I want to now create what are the criteria that should be accepted for this particular use case, and it created 13 for me. And now then I go to create a scenarios for all those acceptance criteria. And I see two questions now that agent is asking me. So it's not like it's a magic or something, right? If you give a good PRD, then agent will not ask you a question and it will go on and create a complete acceptance criteria and everything for you. But if it feels that something is missing or something user needs to be informed about, the agent will ask question back to the human, like whoever is there and trying to create this. So it is asking me some question like, for the rule that place order is enabled only when name and address are non-empty, should white space only entries counted as empty or as filled? So I'll go with recommended, uh, literals non-empty, and then it's asking me how many scenarios I want to create. There are four scenarios. It is saying me two are happy paths, one is negative, and one is boundary case that is there. So I can go with different options, but then what will happen? kane-cli will create gaps around it. So I'll not do that right now. I'll just go and say no limit. So it creates all the scenarios for me, and then we can see what scenarios kane-cli is generating for us. Uh, Hopefully, people are following along with me. Whoever is has set it up and trying it out with me. So it's definitely good to have people trying out along with you when you're doing a workshop, right? So yeah. So now it's trying to create a scenarios. Okay. It has come up with four scenarios. What we approved: two happy cases, one negative, and one boundary case. And what scenarios look like? Let us see. So scenario one is complete the checkout with valid delivery address and return to menu, which seems completely valid to me. Uh, Definitely, I would have created this particular scenario if I'm going to test out this particular use case. Scenario two is block order placement until both required checkout fields are fulfilled. This is a negative case, right? Complete checkout after switching payments method to cash. This is a happy flow that if I switch it from card to cash and try to complete the flow, it should allow me. And there is one boundary case that is allow order placement with one character required checkout fields. Okay, so this is a boundary case where we're just talking about some valid like one character or two character, or if a password field needs eight character and all those things. So this looks good to me, and I'll go ahead. And now what? So before going ahead, what we have done right now, I'll just review it back once. So we have designed the acceptance criteria for the use case that was place a food order for delivery. It has designed all the acceptance criteria for me, 13 different acceptance criteria. And then I said that I want the scenarios as well. It has created scenarios for me. But the interesting part lies in how these scenarios and acceptance criteria are going to get linked. Like which test will cover which scenario. So next, what it needs to do is a wiring, right? So wiring is interesting stuff, and we'll see the next step that it is going to just wire up the acceptance criteria and the scenarios altogether, and it will give me a final what tests it has created out of it. So let's see. So we can also see a lot of other items right here that we are in phase 2 out of phase 4. We have 17 items that are in session this session right now, and we have a use total of 43 credits for designing this particular use case till now. Okay. Yeah. It will take some time to do this. It's definitely a little time taking job where you have to define which acceptance criteria is connected to which scenario, right? So it has done. It has saved two use cases as draft for me. Uh, When cash is chosen on checkout, cash is shown as the selected payment method, right? And place order is enabled when full name. Okay, correct. And it has staged scenarios. One acceptance criteria, the happy path reaches the checkout. This looks good to me. This has completed the wiring and continue to tests and gaps. Let's see if it has created any gaps or not. So we are just doing this workshop on a small scale, but definitely this is much interesting when you go to a large scale where you have multiple PRDs coming in, multiple use cases are overlapping, and all those things. And the kane-cli AI handles it like gracefully for you, and you don't have to worry about uh, like what we mentioned back there, how business use cases are linked to your test scenarios, and all all these things now kane-cli AI manages in its context for you. So that's really great actually. Okay, so it has created 4 tests for me right now. So what are tests? Tests are basically the combination of how scenario is connected to a specific acceptance criteria. And let's go through all the test statuses created. So test one is checkout succeeds with default card and clears the card on return, right? And it verifies 11 acceptance criteria. And there is another test case, checkout stays blocked until both required fields are filled, and it verifies 6 acceptance criteria. Checkout succeeds after switching payment method to card, it verifies 12 acceptance criteria. And checkout accepts 1 character required field, it contains 12 acceptance criteria. I'll just to continue, and let's see. Once this is complete, I'll show you the browser view what we have seen before, um, how the scenarios, acceptance criteria, and everything is linked. So let's wait. Okay, I'll just finish it and I'll show you separately how everything looks. So we have successfully designed our first use case uh, through kane-cli, and now let us see what context shows us. That is really interesting. I'll first do list actually to see it here. Okay, so before we were only seeing source and use case. Now we can see scenarios, acceptance criterias, and tests. Right. I'll show you guys the view here as well. Okay. Now this looks really a big chunk of a graph. So I'll just zoom in for you guys so we can see all the things properly. So PRD, this is the one that we ingested, and you can see here it links 4 use case 1, use case 2, use case 3, and use case 4. And currently it doesn't have any lineage, but lineage is also a very interesting concept where if you update the PRD and re-ingest it via maintain evolve, there is a maintain evolve command that we can use to evolve a specific PRD. Then we can see some lineage and all those stuff as well here. And now let's come to use case 1, right? um, okay, so we worked on use case 1, and there are scenarios that are created along with it. Let's see what is use case 1 first. So a user completes a checkout, entering full name, what we have seen before, what order ID should come, what should be validated, everything is here, right? And it has been like risk is marked as high, and it is like user generated. Now let's go to scenarios, and which scenarios link to what tests and what acceptance criteria that we have seen that it completes 12 acceptance criteria or 16 acceptance criteria. So we have a complete visibility of how it works. So scenario 1, complete the checkout with valid details. So for that there is a test case that is created, and we can see the test case written in plain English language actually. this is what a test will look like. I'll show it to you guys in VS Code as well. Let me come back here. I'll show it to you how a test looks. So these are all the tests that are created by kane-cli for that specific use case, which we designed it right now. And it has created a test in English, plain English language. There is nothing locators, nothing. So now this is the format that kane-cli understands, right? So we have come here via a particular loop of assurance where we ingested a PRD and created everything. But if you want, you can manually write a test MD, what you want to test in plain English, and kane-cli understands it, right? So there is step 1, step 2, step 3, all of these are here. Step 7 actually marks what all scenario acceptance criteria are going to be verified by this particular test case, right? So now we have seen all these stuff and what all acceptance criteria is linked, we can see it here. And if we want that, we want to see uh, just a second. So it was this one, and we can check what all acceptance criteria is all this by just clicking and see, right? Okay, let me come back here. And we have successfully created 4 different test cases. And now what we want to do is authoring and execute, right? So we have done the part where we have the PRD, we generated use cases, and then we created tests out of it, right? And everything is linked as I shown you in that view graph for the browser itself, where you can see how everything is linked. So you don't have to maintain everything. kane-cli remembers it for you, right? Now, the interesting part where I'll show you how a specific test will run. So I'll not do anything, right? I'll just go, and we have a feature called of test.md, because what we created was test.md. So kane-cli test.md, and it will show me all the test cases that are created, right? And I want to run just one right now, and let's see what happens. So I'll just pick this one. Okay, let's test this one. I just want to run it. I just don't want to do anything else. Okay, so I'll just print both in front so you guys can see. Okay, perfect. So now kane-cli is just trying to run this specific test, and we'll see what happens. So it has entered everything, every detail. It will sign in. Okay, looks good. Okay, so we have 7 different intents, and the first intent is completed. Now it has moved on to the second intent, which is trying to add certain items to cart and verify it. So I'll tell you what is going on behind the scenes. So we have created a plain English language test, and kane-cli is for the first time trying to run that particular test that was written in English, right? So it needs to, so this is a complete agentic loop that is running right now. And this agent itself is looking at the screen, your tree structure, and a lot of things. It is looking at your network logs, your console logs, everything. And it is deciding what action to take, right? From the intent, it is trying to resolve all the action for you and trying to just verify and fill everything. So if you can see on screen, like it is trying to read something from the screen, uh, which definitely is one of the acceptance criteria that is present in that particular test. So for the first time when this runs, this is actually figuring out how to run the test, right? And this takes a little bit of time than execution. But once this is completed for the first time, then execution is just replaying of what the agent has known, what it has done before. So we'll get to see that in action as well. We are just waiting for this one specific test case that we have created. to just get executed, and we are seeing just how everything works in live, right? So as I mentioned to you in starting, like we are giving out 10,000 free credits. So this is one of the use case that I'm trying to show you guys. You guys must have really complex use cases, and we are internally at TestMu AI using this kane-cli to automate all this flow. So you guys can definitely use that 10,000 credits that we are giving out and try out this complete flow, right? And definitely let us know how it works for you. So it is validating all the different types of use cases here, right? If it has, without adding the item when it goes to cart, it sees that like it's empty, which is completely fine. Okay, so it's just doing its last few steps. Okay, so we see in background that it has completed successfully and it is saving the artifacts, right? Which is important because it because without those evidence, it doesn't make sense what you have executed. No one can see what has happened. So there are three forms in which kane-cli emits the artifact. uh, Actually two. So one is the test cases. So this directly links to the test manager that we have at TestMu AI, and I can just open it and show this one to you. Okay, I'll allow it. So it shows me this what it has tested, right? And I can just, if I want to see the how everything happened, I can just see it here. I've just replayed one. Like it's not a running of a code, it's just viewing what the agent has done before. So it's doing everything, it's verifying everything, it's going back, checking. This stuff is definitely interesting, but and also we do emit code as well for this, which is a deterministic, like a code if you want to just see it what it has happened. So that is also there for you guys on test manager. And we do maintain a version history, like if your test changes, how a version keeps on coming up in this specific test case, right? So let me go back here, and I'll not show you guys the evidence of this one, but what I promised you was that we have two things: authoring and execution. So I'll do the execution and show you guys the evidence for that execution, right? So I'll just again go into test.md, and now if you see uh, what are the sync tests that has already ran, right? There is one sync test which we executed, and now I just want to do a execution of it. The first part was authoring, and now it comes to execution. We have all the information: what is the test case id, in which project it lies, in which folder it lies, what is the org id, everything. So I'll just uh, try to run this and let's see what happens. Now it's going like super crazy, right? Because it already knows what it has done and it will do the same stuff. And that's done. All the 7 steps which it authored. Now the same test.md commands run it for me, right? So this is the interesting part. And now I can show you guys the evidence of this, which I promised to show you when I do the execution. So this is something really interesting because it is not on the cloud. We have just hosted out this evidence.lambdatest.com, and this particular evidence is being served from your local machine. It's nowhere on the cloud, nothing. You just can just if you just want to, you can share this evidence with anyone out there, and they can open up evidence.lambda-test.com, just drop it and see what is there. So I'll come here, and this is the part that we saw on Test Manager. But now this is not the authoring one. These are the steps for the execution that we have done, right? And this is the most interesting part. What we have done before execution is the coverage, right? So we created business use cases, and there was one use case that we designed till now, and there were four scenarios, right? That were there: scenario one, scenario two, scenario three, and scenario four. And inside the scenarios, there were acceptance criteria, and we can see that acceptance criteria one is linked to all the four test case, and acceptance 10 is linked to three test case, and all these things. And we can see here what all acceptance criteria has verified. So when you have a product, and you just want, like, what is the coverage of a product? This question is like very difficult to answer, right? So we try to make it we try to explain to you guys in a very simple term that if a acceptance criteria is passing, it means your test is working, right? If acceptance criteria is failing, then your coverage is going down. So we map everything to acceptance criteria, and we show you how much acceptance criteria has actually been verified by running a specific test. So we see 12 out of 15, which means this specific test case has covered total 12 acceptance criteria for you. And this is definitely something interesting to check it out when you guys are running it yourself. There is coverage. There is like when like if this acceptance criteria is covered, I'll show you. Okay, so a lot of things are covered in here as well. So a lot of acceptance criteria has been verified here. We can see this. And now let me come back. Okay, so I have shown you guys the evidence of this particular execution that we have done. And maybe if I can show you. Okay, right. So we also have a lot of information like what it stored. So you can come out and see
So I
those
think,
things.
Siddhant, we are running short of time. So first
Okay,
of all, thank you so much for this great walkthrough of the full agentic QA loop. So we have got a couple of questions from the attendees. So I think we can pick up those, right?
sure, Salman.
Yeah. So let me start. So this is the first question. How does agentic review detect that a test has drifted out of sync with the application?
Okay, this is definitely a great questions. So for kane-cli, what we have done is that we assume the source, that a PRD or something that is there, to be a source of truth, right? And if after creating a test case from a PRD, if the test is failing, either there is something wrong with the PRD, or either there is something wrong with the implementation that is done by the developer, right? And if we are talking about the test has drifted out, it means the PRD needs to be updated, right? So once a test is drifting, there is definitely a change in the feature or something that is out there, and the PRD needs to be re-ingested. So a drifted test can be calculated and fixed. Otherwise, if you don't do that, your test will just start to fail, and you can just see it in your coverage that the specific test is failing until you go and just say to us that uh, you want to update this particular you give us the feature, and we'll identify what test to be updated, right? So yeah.
Thanks, Siddhant. Okay, so we'll fix the next one. So yeah, when the agent updates a test to match evolved app behavior, How is it prevented from silently masking a real bug as an intentional change?
Correct. So there are two things to it. What we are talking about is the complete flow, right? So what is passed for us? If a acceptance criteria is passing, then we see that a specific test or a particular flow is passing, right? And we are talking about evolving of a test where agent makes mistakes, but what I want to highlight is that the acceptance criteria that is created, that is not modifiable by the execution or the authoring agent. So it has to follow what acceptance criteria is there and has been approved by the user. So it can definitely go and do something, but it can never modify your acceptance criteria, and it will definitely start to fail if it tries to do something which is out of the flow. So that is something we rely on, and our testing team also rely on, is the acceptance criteria part.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We have time for one last question. So, yes, so who is responsible when an autonomous AI agent causes a security incident? The model provider, platform team, developer, or organization deploying it?
Uh, right. So this is a generic question, right? And this is an interesting question. Like there are, we have seen in last few days that a model of like Soul or Fable, all these models have been hopping on through internets and doing some security incidents out there. So if we talk in terms of kane-cli right now, kane-cli doesn't have access to anything apart from what you are providing in the PRD or the context. But if you, in general, if I talk about the person who is actually managing that agent should be responsible for whatever security incident is there, because as humans we are responsible for the guardrails and whatever access we are giving to your agents, right? So we as a human, whoever is managing your agent, should be responsible for the security incidents that are going on.
All right. So, thank you once again, Siddhant, for this great session. And thank you,
Yeah,
everyone, for joining us. Also, we have some interesting talks coming up. So, stay tuned and also do share your takeaways on LinkedIn and X. Thanks, everyone.
sure. Thank you, everyone.